Hey there, today we are going to take you through some pretty quick training on how to use MyScorecard, which is a mini tool. I like to call it a mini tool because it's not nearly as big as the playbook, but it's something that we're going to use to generate your scorecards and capture some of the actions that we will review in the weekly Tier 5 review. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the file. It's myscorecard.xlsm. It has an M at the end because it's macro enabled. Many of you are familiar with the playbook. So in this case, you have to enable your macros. So you say enable content and you say okay, and then you're pretty much ready to rock and roll. The cool thing about this is to do the data refresh update, which is step 1, it takes about 10 seconds versus I know many of you use the playbook and that could take anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes, which is forever. So we've kind of decoupled the functionality. 1, we gave you playbook, but 2, we gave you this MyScorecard.xlm tool so that you can quickly refresh your scorecard data, generate your scorecard, and then save it as a separate file that you're going to review in your weekly Tier 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the scorecard. I'm going to say refresh data. It's going to refresh the bottom right-hand corner. It's going to update the records. It's updating now, and it's done. Again, way quicker than the playbook, but this is just scorecard data. It has the last time that you refreshed, which is July 20th. That's today's date. And just so you know, the scorecard data is refreshed every day along with the playbook. So every time you open up this file, you can technically update your data if you'd like. So the idea is before every weekly tier review you have as you prepare, you can go ahead, open up this file, you can refresh your data, and then that way you have the latest and greatest when you're actually doing your review. So step 2 is you select your customer, and from here I'm just going to select, let's go ahead and select Emirates. I know Paul probably loves it that I'm picking his customer. And then I'm going to click on 3, populate the scorecard data, which is the Create My Scorecard button. And then you can see, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. It will calculate a composite score. And then you will see that there are 3 main categories, which is customer communication and responsiveness, delivery performance, and then CVM account health. And then all of the KPIs, which are separated, into each of the 3 categories are listed here. And then the scores are weighted. So for every KPI, it'll calculate the total points, which will ultimately give you, the scores across the 3 categories. And then the 3 scores are added to give you your composite score. And if that sounded confusing, it's kind of a confusing formula. It's not meant to be confusing, but you have 18 KPIs that are weighted in different fashions, and it's kind of all multiplied together and added up for one big score. So at this point, you refreshed your data, you selected your customer, you clicked on the Create My Scorecard, so it would populate and update all of the data for you, and it does all of the color coding based off of the ranges. And then at this point, the next step is just to fill out the actions. So here we have the CVM comments, inputs on customer sentiment. This is just our high-level summary of your customer. Anything that you want us to know about that really isn't captured in the action section. Maybe you went to a customer meeting. Maybe you guys are pursuing a specific sales pursuit and you want to include that in the comments. List them out here. The next thing is, for each of the 3 categories, you will have your top 5 actions that you are doing to address any reds that you see. So for example, under customer communication and responsiveness, here are the top 5 actions you would list out to address them. Now, with each weekly review, you may not be able to really drive all of the actions to get, these things to green within a week. So you really have to think about, what actions you have time to focus on, which actions are the needle movers, and those are the ones that you should really list. So scrolling down, now you have your deliver performance area, and it's the same thing. You look at the red KPIs, and then you list out, what are my top 5 actions I'm doing to address that. According to this, Emirates is at 47.87% for spares OTD. So you would hypothetically go into the playbook data, you try to look at the OTD data and say, okay, is it site driven? Is it part number driven? Is it something else? And then based off of the data, if maybe it's site and product driven, then you would try to do that investigation, the analysis to determine, okay, am I supposed to escalate something to the CCO team so that your actions here, when you go through your weekly review, It's going to say, I'm addressing product line XYZ. There's been a material shortage. We've had chronic stockouts. I've escalated to CCO, and you would list that all there. Because ultimately, your action wants to drive how to get this from red to green. And then the last section, which is the third section, is the CBM account health section. All of the KPIs that you see here link directly to the actions that are listed on the homepage of the playbook. And so they list them here, and again, anything in red that you want to focus on, you would list the actions that would drive it from red back to green. So that is just about it. After you fill out your high-level summary, then the actions that are going to drive, customer communication responsiveness, delivery performance, and CBM account health from the reds to the greens, then you would save this file. So say, I typed some stuff here. I'm going to type some stuff here, here. Then I'm just going to go in. I'm going to save it to my hard drive. I'm going to save as MyScorecard. I'm going to call it Emirates 7/20/2015. Now it's on my hard drive. And you need to make sure you save it as a .xlsm. That's why it gave me the error. And then when you do your weekly reviews, when it's time for you to present, you would go back, get your Excel file, and share your screen. And that is it. For more information about actually filling out the scorecard for content and how you would actually present that content during the Tier 5 review, there's another training video that's out there, and it goes through a mock Tier 5 review in addition to going through an entire customer review for JetBlue, just so that you understand kind of what the expectations are, what you would talk about, the format, things like that. So keep your eye out for that one. That's posted on YouTube as well. Thanks, guys, and have a great day.